Greetings of the day, ma'am. Thank you for connecting with the Forensic Corner, and thank you that you were able to take out your time from your busy schedule for this interview. We are really honored from your presence today. And I, Prashant Singh, with my colleague Miss Nandini, we are graduate students of forensic science, and moreover, we are very passionate about the field of forensic science. We tend to dig into the different aspects of forensic science. Like one aspect I'll just like to bring to your notice was that we used to love writing. So we decided that why don't we use this writing for the field of forensic science. So we started writing articles at different platforms for different platforms, and we have a couple of articles published on reputed platforms of both national and international importance. And so, ma'am, thank you so much for connecting with us. And now I'll request Ms. Nandini to please introduce our respective speaker of the day to our respected audience.
Yeah, well, first of all, I would like to thank you, not me. Thank you for the initiative. I think it's an amazing initiative, and I really applaud it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for connecting with us. Joe Adserias-Garriga, ma'am, is a forensic anthropologist and a forensic odontologist from Spain, where she directed and lectured in different postgraduate programs in forensic science. She was an external advisor to Mossos de Esquadra Castellanian Police, who honored her with a police decoration for her contribution in forensic casework in anthropology and odontology. Dr. Garriga worked as a forensic anthropologist in identification of the bodies found nearby the border between Mexico and the US in the South Texas at the Forensic Anthropology Center, Texas State University, USA. She has conducted research collaborations with different entities in the US and Europe. She is a member of the American Dental Association Standards Committee on Dental Informatics, Forensic Odontology Informatics. She is a diplomate of the American Board of Forensic Odontology. She serves as a member of the Board of Directors of the International Association of the Coroners and the Medical Examiners. She is a member of INTERPOL Division Odontology Sub-Working Group and the INTERPOL Division Pathology-Anthropology Sub-Working Group. After acquiring all the great positions, she is also an assistant professor of the Department of Applied Forensic Sciences at the Mercyhurst University. Ma'am, your journey is really spellbinding. Now, I would like to ask Prashant to continue with the interview round.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. So, ma'am, shall we start with our first question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, as per your experience, what inspired you to choose forensic science? And what caught your interest in the field of forensic anthropology and odontology?
Well, actually, it's a funny question that you asked me this, because recently I had my 20-year anniversary of my graduation at the school, and all my schoolmates, when we were kids, we were telling me about what we were doing and everything, and it was so funny because I couldn't connect with them because they were in Spain. I was in the US. So I made a video for them, and I told them like what I'm doing in forensics and everything. And I had so many messages saying, "Oh my God, Joe, you should do that because you were always talking about crimes and murders and everything at the school." And I didn't remember that. I didn't remember that. But I really remember that once I get to dentistry, I really enjoy and loved so much preparing the cadavers for anatomy, and that was my first job and my first contact with a dead body, and this gave me a lot of knowledge about how to manage a dead body in a very, very delicate way, which is not like the way that we macerate the bodies, right? But so my first contact was through anatomy. And then I remember that my first day in forensics in my course of forensic odontology in class, I remember that I said, "Oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do." Okay, and yeah, and then I was doing that's why I became a forensic odontologist. And after my degree in biology, I decided to go to forensic anthropology. And those two disciplines together have engaged so well because one helped to the other. And also because I was doing oral surgery, it helped me a lot to understand how the bone reacts. Because sometimes I struck a teeth and then I put an implant in it, and I could see how the bone heals, so all the clinical anatomy, and then the engagement of the two disciplines, of the two sciences, anthropology and odontology, just engage so much. And I'm more passionate every day. So I always, it's something, if we ever lose that excitement, I think we have to quit the job.
Remember, there is one nice thing about forensic science and even the different disciplines, that it's always never the same. Means what we are reading, what we are seeing, it's never the same condition, because every time I think the conditions vary from case to cases. And I think, ma'am, that's what keeps the interest.
But I think that we cannot know about everything. I cannot
Yes,
know that, I don't know, my specialty is not like the recovery, for instance. I'm much better in the lab. And so that's why we have to work together in a team. So in your team, someone has to be very good at recovery, because if you don't recover well, then you lose all the information in the lab. Then someone has to be really good at trauma. Some other has to be very good at pathology, anatomy. So you have to have a multidisciplinary team. And sometimes with this multidisciplinary team, you will always need some other that gives you an advice about fibers or about whatever, or engineering or something like that. So I always say that if you want to work by yourself alone in forensics, you will never succeed. So you have to have a nice team. You have to talk a lot with your team, and you have to choose very nicely.
Yes, ma'am. It's definitely very important. In every profession, team is very important. Teamwork, it's very, very important.
Yes. And it's nice to be in a nice team. So now in the team that I'm working in Mercyhurst, we are not such a very big team. We are 5 people that are faculty, but each one of us have different disciplines. So our boss, Dr. Diplomate, is really, it's the best one in recovery. Then we have another member, Luis Cabo, is really good at the application of science, statistics, and all the softwares that are right now available. Then I am good at pathology, trauma, and everything that it's like clinical related symptoms and everything, bioprofile. And then we have Leslie Fitzpatrick that is very good at trauma also, and isotopes. And then we have Jen Webb that is really good at 3D reconstructions and scanning and all that. So and we have Dennis Donovan that is a fingerprint expert, and he used to be a police. So we're a small team, but we can do so different things, and we are always helping each other. So it's really good. That's
a really great example of a great team. That's really a great example of a great team.
But sometimes we need some others. So.
Yes, ma'am, that's true, because we don't know what situation brings us.
Exactly. Yes,
so ma'am, my next question was, what is the best thing you like about this field, and what were the obstacles you faced during your career when you started as an expert?
So for me, the best thing is to identify unknown. That's the best thing for me, because I know that I allow that person to be buried with that name that he or she had, and I allowed the family to have somewhere to go and pray for the loved one, and to know, and to just to know that that person is dead and you give the body back to the family, that helps to close the grief. It's a natural thing. It's you close the grief. So for me, identifying someone, it's like, for me, my life motif in my profession, it's identification. And the obstacles that I found, it's like, so I'm from Spain. So at the beginning of my career, I was living in Spain, not in US. And the obstacles that I found there, it's the organization, how the medical institutes are organized in Spain and many parts of Europe, where they just have pathologists. And I think that's a lack of interdisciplinarity, even though some of them can be dentists, but they are clinical dentists. Some of them can be anthropologists, but they are not like full-time anthropologists. So the difficulties that I found is that in some countries that I've been working, it's very difficult, and it's always something very, very, let's say, something that is really hard to apply correctly the forensic sciences. And when you want to do your work like correctly and science-based, you should not be like fighting all the time to apply them correctly. You should be thanked to apply them correctly. And this is the main reason why I moved to the US, and where here I really think that forensic science are applied correctly, especially in the team that I am. I'm really happy with it.
Ma'am, and the biggest struggle is that when we begin our career, the recognition, because people have time to trust us, because as a beginner stage, people don't trust the initial stages of our experience, right, ma'am?
The outsiders.
Yeah, I tell you, this is something that we all have been through. And I always tell my students, never say no to a job. Just do it. Just do it. You will gain experience. You will gain, and also contact with other forensic scientists that are more senior, that have more experience, and work with them. Because at the beginning, I just was like going to cases with some others and looking how they were doing the case, and I could learn what the good practices are, and also what the bad practices are. So you will learn from everything. So I really would encourage everyone that is like new in the field to contact. And now with those platforms, this is amazing. I mean, I've been doing research with people that are in India, people that are in France, people that are in Spain, and I was in the US. So we have an amazing tools for communication, get in contact with someone that it's more senior. And I tell you, there's so many people that we have been doing that for years, that it's still our passion. So we love to see new people that are interested, and wow, that's so good for us. That's so exciting.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Ma'am, the pandemic has brought a lot of problems to the society, but at the same time, these virtual meetings have created a big scope on how we can communicate. Now, today we are able to get guidance under you, ma'am, and that is also a big opportunity, because no one expected that things could be virtually also. It will be possible. Like, we are so far off, but still it feels like we are here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. And also there are some years that I was like, okay, you have to be in Europe this day, but you're invited also in the US that day. And I said, I cannot make it. I physically cannot make it. And now it's much more easy. So now we are more stressed if you want to.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this will give a bigger expansion to our scientific community.
Yes.
It will get, I think later on in the coming years and the coming months also, I think this will definitely improve the quality of scientific community.
I really think so. I really think so, because like in this semester, people from many parts of the US have asked me to give a class virtually, wherever, like sometimes they could not have the money to pay me the travel, you know, and that makes like so that makes everything easy. Can you do a lecture this day? Yeah, perfect. And it's much easier. So yeah, so we can be more stressed because we will have more work, but it's okay.
Yes, ma'am, that's true. Ma'am, my next question is, as a forensic anthropologist, ma'am, was there any difference in the casework of Spain and the US? Like, what was it like handling your first ever case? Like, what was your experience when you handled your first case, and how it was different from Spain and the US?
It's a lot different, a lot. So as I said, in Spain, the multidisciplinarity is not that big, and also the normally or the more official people that are involved in a case, in a normal case, if they don't ask an external advisor, they are just handled by pathologist. So the problem is that they don't have, like, in the US, the police contact with the university or the expert that they want. And in Spain, what they do is that they have to contact the Institute of Legal Medicine by law. So that makes that in cases they don't always have the best expert. In the US, they can say, okay, there is a very good expert. So me, in my team, we are in Pennsylvania, but sometimes we are called by New York or Ohio or Texas or Puerto Rico or Singapore. So we work around the world because the police agencies here in the US can call the best expert that they think. In Spain, that doesn't happen. The universities are seldom contacted, and that makes that you don't have always the best expert in the, yeah. So, and that makes problems at the recovery and also in the lab. So that's the main difficulty that I saw, well, difficulty or the main difference in between the US and Spain. And also, like, of course, said, sorry?
No, sorry, ma'am. Yeah, you can continue.
No, and also the background of the, where I could learn very good forensic sciences practices, it was here in the US. And I could realize what was wrong in the practices that I saw in Spain. So that was very enriching.
And
like maybe said earlier also that the recovery or the analysis, if something is not done right, the overall case gets disturbed.
Yes. Pardon? I couldn't, sorry, something good.
Ma'am, I was saying that like as you said earlier, like if the recovery is not done right or if the analysis is not done right, definitely the case gets disturbed.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, I always say that the case doesn't begin in the lab when you receive the remains. The case begins in the scene. So there are like postmortem interval estimation, for instance, we cannot always assess very well if we don't have the whole information that they gather in the scene recovery. So we rather go to the scene recovery, or we ask the police agents that made the recovery to give us all the pictures and we ask some questions like, oh, how it was the temperature, how it was everything.
My next question is, in many countries, like even in India, forensic anthropology is not so popular. Like many have an image that a forensic anthropologist will only be summoned when there are skeletal remains and not for any other instance. So, ma'am, can you please provide an instance about such aspects?
Well,
insights about it.
I know I don't know forensic anthropologists in India, but I know forensic odontologists in India, and they are really good. They are really good, and I had the opportunity to collaborate with them. And Dr. Abraham Johnson is a really good forensic odontologist in India. So the practice of forensic odontology, I can say that it's really, it's nice, it's high quality. Anthropologists, I have never met in India. So nowadays, the forensic anthropology is not just to analyze a bag of bones that we receive in the lab. So it's much more, because we are the best ones assessing how the soft tissue has decomposed. So we are the best ones saying why this has been like mummified, why this has been all gone, like, and and also if we see differential decomposition, very, very differential decom, then we can say, oh, maybe that was a trauma here, it was a bound, what was happened. So I think the forensic anthropologists now look at the body at the recovery, look at the body at the initial conditions, and then, yeah, of course, we deal with bones, and we measure the bones, and we do all the analysis for the bioprofile and everything, but it's not only bones. It's absolutely not only bones.
Even forensic anthropologists related with the bioarchaeology and all, like taphonomic processes and all these things are also related with it.
Yes, so we deal with forensic cases and not with ancient remains or with historical remains. So we are more specialized to forensic cases, so like murders or accidents or whatever that it's modern. But our training, it's also like in bioarchaeology. So we have a lot of in common of these disciplines. Mm. The context when you see the case, it's very different, but the principles or the bases are the same.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, that's true. Ma'am, my question, another question was, ma'am, I'm a keen enthusiast in forensic anthropology. Like I was always like, ma'am, digging in about different aspects. Like when I was when I started graduation in forensic science, like I read about body forms, and I was really fascinated about these body forms, and I was like even fascinated about the different type of aspects forensic anthropologists have. Like they have a keen understanding of the surroundings. Moreover, they have a good understanding of the body, the tissues, the bones. So I felt like it was a very deep and very responsible type of an opportunity. So, ma'am, as a field of case work and as well as in the scope of research, how well we can start our field? Like as students, how can we step in such fields?
So yeah, regarding the body forms, yeah, they are like they are very nice. They are very nice for understand the decomposition. I've been first in the body farm in Tennessee. First, I went there to do some courses, and then I came back to do some research. And then when I was working in Texas State, I was working also in the body farm that they have in Texas State. So the outdoor facilities for research, it gives you a really nice understanding of the whole process of decomposition. So it's nice to see it. But it's not the only tool that we have for research. So we can do like very basic research that it's so important, and sometimes we forget about it. So it's yeah, and right now, my advice, my first advice right now would be like join online courses, because you can access to all over the world with no problem. So we can if you need some information about online courses, I can give it to you some. But we are performing like courses in the analysis of burned remains, fire fatal recoveries, forensic odontology, bioarchaeology, lots of things. So right now, the first advice, like join online courses, because there are so many nice courses online, and it's very easy for us to come. We just have to we can have like a tea and sitting at home and join a course. So it's very convenient. So for this year, it would be like, yeah, join online courses. And then for the future years, if we can travel more and everything, it's, yeah, contact other experts and when you choose the field that you want to grow in, just go for it and contact other experts and join the platforms. And also if you are able to travel and see places and see other countries, how they manage, it's so enriching. It's very enriching to see different places, how they work and how they handle the cases.
Yes, ma'am. Like you mean to say that first we have to take a grip from the online courses, and we can start with a simple course and then we can go deeper and deeper, like that you're saying. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, now I'll request Nandini to please continue with the remaining questions of the interview.
Okay. Ma'am, body farms and exhumation procedures are very important for a forensic anthropologist. What are the basic steps that are required when we carry out such procedures, and how much problematic it can be for the body farms in the society?
Well, first of all, not all countries have the same regulations to have a body farm. So if you are planning to have a body farm in your country, in your city, because you are having you have a forensic department, a forensic science department, or a forensic anthropology department, and you want to set a body farm, then you have to deal with different regulations in different places around the world. So, but I also have done a lot of observational research in crematorium, in cemeteries. So yeah, when you don't have something, you just figure out the way to have access to it. So, and then regarding the exhumations, again, each country has its own regulations. And so, for instance, in one country, a reason to exhume cannot be valid in another country. So that can be very different. And also the context of the exhumation. So maybe you want to do an exhumation because you want a second analysis on a case, and that's like practically everywhere in the world you can do that. But then if you have like victims of war and you want to exhume them, identify them, there are some countries that have more difficulties than others. Like in Spain, we have a lot of difficulties to exhume the bodies that were of the soldiers or civilians that were killed in the civil Spanish War, and we have lots of problems for that. I still nowadays I don't really understand why, but yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, like in these corona situations, what you guys are doing about the exhumation and all these procedures?
Pardon?
Ma'am, in these times of COVID, what you are doing in these cases of exhumation and all?
Well, in COVID, it depends. Like we still do exhumations and recoveries and all that. The only thing is that we just set in place all the measures of health and safety, like let's say how to wipe our cars, or how to, all the PPE that we have. So we are more careful, but we still do them. We still do them.
And that's great. Ma'am, my next question
We cannot
is...
stop. We
Okay.
cannot stop.
Yes. Okay, my next question
Definitely, ma'am. The responsibilities come with great power, right?
Okay. And what's the best thing you like about the field of forensic odontology?
Well, the thing that I like best, as I said before, it's identification. So for doing forensic odontology, it's a very, very fast way to identify someone. It's very expedited, but it's not, it doesn't require like a lot of technical equipment and all this. Sometimes just looking at 2 radiographs, we can say, okay, this is this. We do the report and okay, that's the person. We don't know if it's that person or it's an exclusion. It's not that person. So for me, the best thing I like in forensic odontology, it's the way that we can easily identify someone.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, shall we move on to the next question? Ma'am, to become a certified expert in forensic odontology and forensic anthropology, ma'am, students like us, how shall we begin a journey, and what are the authorities that are regulating such licenses or certifications?
Well, there is a big lack in certifications in forensic odontology and forensic anthropology. And that depends on the different regions and the different countries and everything. So in Europe, we don't have any certification in forensic odontology. We don't have anything. So you achieve your specialty through your master's, and then you can do a PhD. Forensic anthropology in Europe, there is the Forensic Anthropology Society of Europe that gives certifications. However, in the last years, it has been a bit, there has been some problems in it, and it's like, well, and then in the US, we have the American Board of Forensic Odontology, where I'm a diplomate on. It's the oldest entity that certifies forensic odontologists. And also we have an entity in UK that certifies forensic odontologists, but this entity just certifies UK forensic odontologist. And it's like, I don't think that if you're from abroad, you should ask, you should double check. But I think if you're from abroad, then you're not eligible to pass the exam and everything. And then also here in the US, we have the American Board of Forensic Anthropologists. So since those disciplines and those sciences have been held for longer here in the US, they have set all the certification processes. But it's a problem because in so many countries, especially Europe, we have a lack of certification.
So ma'am, what we have to do, like they have to pursue masters and then they can join, or
Yeah,
they can gain experience, right?
Yeah, because I can tell you there are so many forensic odontologists here in the US that are not a diplomate of the American Board of Forensic Odontology, and they are doing an amazing job too. So it doesn't mean that if you're not diplomate, you're not going to be a very good forensic odontologist, and if you are going to be. That, I mean, it's just a checkpoint on your quality. But I met so many forensic odontologists that are not certified, and they are doing an amazing, great job. Amazing job. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So it's like it does not. The degree doesn't matter. The experience counts.
No, but you have to have a very good base in the training. The base has to be really good, and then the training and the expertise, and the experience, yes, you have to have it.
Yes, ma'am. So the last question, ma'am, the field of forensic science is not known among the people, and a large awareness needs to be created about the subject matter. So what is your opinion on this? And how much do you recommend people to join this interesting and gripping field?
Well, lastly, in the last years, it has been very easy because we have CSI and Bones and all these shows in the TV that people just see forensic science and they say, oh my God, I want to do that, right? When they see that it's not that easy, maybe they said, I don't know if that's my thing. So nowadays, I think that it's in the other way around, that we have a lot of people that want to join, and then they realize that it's not exactly as they saw in the TV.
Yes.
So, so I think we are in the other way, right? In the other side of the, we are many people joining, and then sometime after the first year, they'd say, this is not what I expected. This is not what I expected. So I think we're, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, as a kid, I used to enjoy CSI series. Like it was very interesting, and when I still remember when I was very young, like when I was in my schoolings, early schoolings, I used to watch Bones and Grey's Anatomy. That time I didn't know what is the anatomy aspect, so I used to just watch it. I'm like, what is it? What is going on? But when I came to the field of forensic science, like as a graduate student, and now when I look behind shows, I realize like what they used to talk about and what were those terms.
But yeah, I mean, I think like these TV serials, people always say that, yeah, they're very real and they are not like very accurate and everything. But I also think that those TV serials could near the people, the general public, to our work. And then they know what we are doing, and they know that we are doing things that are useful for the society. So I think there is a CSI effect that it's negative, but I think that it's a CSI effect that it's very positive, because people understand more what we are doing and then can value more what we are doing. So
And they relate easily.
There's always a positive thing. Yeah, there's always a positive thing in everything. So I think that, yeah, there is a CSI effect that it's negative, because they think that we can do things like this, and I can go into a room and see the body there and say, oh my God, that was a man, 2 feet tall, 5 foot tall, and he used to play tennis, and and it's not like that.
Yeah.
But also, I think there is a positive CSI effect. Can understand more and can value more the forensic science job, no? All the professionals that are working in forensic science, what we do, and how passionate we can be.
Definitely, ma'am.
Is there any other question?
No, ma'am. The questions
Oh.
are
Oh, we have covered all them.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, as I told you, it was really my pleasure to be with you. And
actually, the questions are over.
Thank
you so much for taking your time and giving us your valuable information and knowledge. I hope this knowledge will not only help us to expand our career, but it will also help our viewers who will be viewing that soon.
Yes.
So thank you so much, ma'am. We really appreciate that we got a new mentor. Like really, we got a mentor that's so far away, but still we are feeling that you are so near to us that we are able to feel the vibes which you gave us.
Oh,
so
good.
Thank you so much for that, ma'am.
Yeah, and also please, if there's any student that has any question or anything, feel free to share my email, because I'm open to whatever they need, and if any information that I can give, it's absolutely, I'm open to that.
Surely, ma'am.
Thank you so
Surely,
much.
ma'am. We will do that. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, I wish you the best of luck, and I will follow your podcast.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Definitely, that's really motivating, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Have a good day.
Bye, ma'am. Take care, ma'am. Stay safe. So, guys, stay tuned for more of such great interviews, and kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can never miss such an update. And
thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.
More interviews still to come.